All right, Brutal Planet listeners, it's Joey here. I have the chance to talk with Dustin Davidson of August Burns Red, mostly about their new album and a little bit about their tour. But their album Death Below is going to be released next week, March 24th, and super excited to hear more about it. So, Dustin, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, Joey. Thanks for having me.
Where are you calling from now?
Calling from Charlotte, North Carolina. We're here at the Fillmore tonight. It's our last show on the first leg of our tour that we're doing to celebrate 20 years of being a band.
It's incredible, 20 years.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah. So on your days off, what have you been doing? Anything fun? Seeing any sights or?
Well, lots of interviews, lots of things like this, actually. Excuse me. And we've had a lot of, we had more days off on this tour than we've usually taken in the past. And a lot of the drives on this first leg have been pretty long. So our days off, we've been getting in to our hotel kind of late. So we haven't had as much time, to hang out and do stuff. But really just try to relax on the day off and rest my voice, Jake resting his voice, and some of the guys just hang back and play video games, just kind of like lay low and take it easy to kind of recoup to get back into show mode the next day.
Sure.
So just a lot of relaxing for sure. But
Yeah.
I usually walk around cities and go to local coffee shops and maybe see a movie or something. Just try to relax though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my wife and I when we travel too. That's one of our favorite things to do is just explore a city with no agenda and just kind of see what you see and try different restaurants and all that stuff. So that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really into pool, so I've been walking around to like local bars and stuff and playing pool with our tour manager Josh. We're really into pool, so that's been a great day off activity actually, is finding a pool table and just like spending hours on that playing games.
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, one thing I've always wondered, is there a difference between pool and billiards, or is it just one sounds classier than the other?
That's what I think it is. I don't know for sure, but I think it's just that one sounds classier than the others. I asked somebody recently, "Do you have a billiards table?" And they go, "What's that? Is that a hotel or something?" And I'm like, "Okay, a pool table." And then on the other end of the spectrum, I asked, "Do you have a pool table?" And they were like, "No, we don't have a pool." And I'm like, "No, no, a pool table." They thought I meant a swimming pool, so it
That's
didn't.
funny.
Weird answer on both sides of the spectrum there.
I guess it depends on where you're traveling.
Yeah.
So 20 years you guys are celebrating as a band. We got Death Below coming out. I'm assuming we're considering that the ninth album, correct? We don't count Sledding Hill as the... Okay, so ninth
Yeah.
album. And how does it feel, man?
Boy, it's wild. It's kind of unbelievable. I never really thought that I'd see the day from the beginning. You don't know. I've seen so many bands come and go in our time of being a band that in the early days of touring for me, it's like, how long is this going to last? But fortunately for us, we have such dedicated fans who have gotten us to this point, because we couldn't do it without the support from everybody that
Yeah,
picks up our records or buys merch at a show, comes to a show and supports us. So they're the reason that we're still able to keep doing this for 20 years.
that's got to be over half of your guys' lifetime, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm only 34.
Yeah, that's incredible.
So,
And to
yeah.
think, how many years has it been since any lineup changes? Like 17 years or something?
Yeah, since 2006. So
Wow.
I would have been the last new
Okay.
member, which would have been August 2006, and Jake would have joined earlier in that year too. So Messengers, back in 2007 being the first record with both Jake and myself and the
Yeah.
current lineup on it, 2007.
That's incredible feat, for a band to last that long and then to keep a lineup without any changes for that long as well too. That's something to be proud of, I think.
Absolutely. We really learned how to get along, and we know how to push each other's buttons, and we know not to do that, but we do know the tools to do that for each individual person, what gets to, how we tick and stuff.
Yeah.
But we've really we've been doing this for so long. Even our crew guys that we have with us, they've been with us, some of them since the beginning. And we're just like this fully functioning family at this point who gets along 90 some percent of the time. And
Yeah.
it's just like, we have uncomfortable conversations. We don't let anything go under the rug. We talk
Yeah.
about everything between the band, between the crew and stuff like that. And I think that's really helped us be able to maintain members and crew and to get to this point where we're 20 years in and still have the same faces that we had from the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like you guys just run such a tight ship, whether it's tours or merchandise or whatever. You guys are doing a great job.
Yeah. Hands on and everything, social media,
Yep.
all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the new album. I usually have to start out with a couple cliche questions, and then we'll get into some songs and things like that. But Death Below, the title, I'm assuming that got pulled out from the lyrics of The Reckoning. But
That's correct.
could you guys just maybe explain why you chose that as the title?
Well, so the meaning of it came from, you did call that out, from The Reckoning, which is a Matt lyric. And I'm not familiar. I'd have to look back to see what he had to say about where he got the title from or what he meant by that. But as far as like picking the album title, this was a tricky one for us. We took more time in the past to name not just the album, but some of these songs. Just had a lot of times where we had to like hash out song titles and just got stuck on some things. And the way that we work and operate with that is we usually call a meeting, or we can do it in person. For Guardians, we did it in person and just kind of worked out titles and stuff like that. We look over the lyrics, go through ideas, pull things aside, and then like kind of vote on them until we can get like a majority agreement on titles for songs and the album. But for this one, we wanted, it took us a while. I remember like running over so many different ideas and just finally landing on Death Below, where all of us were like, yep, that's the title. So
that's cool. And the writing process, you guys started like during COVID and stuff, right? So how did the writing process work for this album?
It was a very unique writing process. So COVID sent us home. We were on tour with Killswitch and Gage. COVID broke out. We did 2 shows with them and a headlining show. And then we had to go home. Guardians wasn't even out at this point. So, we had just, a couple months before finished recording Guardians and getting everything ready and in line to release that record. So usually at that time, you're not thinking about writing new music, right? Because you just, it can be an exhausting process of not just writing, but recording the album. It's a grueling process at times, and it kind of takes it out of you. So you're usually looking forward to a reset and some time off from writing music. But with this one here, we got sent home, and JB and I just communicated to each other, well, I guess we'll write music because we can't do anything but go to the grocery store and like everything's closed. So should probably stay active. So we set out as soon as we were sent home from that tour in early 2020 to just start writing again. And I think it was by May, like Death Below was so unique in that it wasn't just one recording session. It was multiple. It was write a bunch of songs. How many do you got? Let's go to the studio. Write some more. Let's go do that again. And we had some things in between, like live streams, some bonus track recording and stuff that we had done that kind of like Christmas songs, kind of like came in the middle of the process of writing for Death Below. So by May of 2020, we had 6 songs completed, went into the studio, didn't know what we were doing at this point, right? We're just like, all right, let's record these songs. Maybe it's an EP. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
But then, as I'd mentioned, we started filling our work schedule with doing the Thrill Seeker live stream, the Christmas CBR live stream, and re-recording Leveler was a big take on as well. So then we're like, all right, we're going to let these songs chill. We'll write some more, and we're going to develop this into a full length then. So yeah, we recorded Death Below over like 3 or 4 different recording sessions. Worked on guitars first. Like I said, had 6 songs, came back, did another like 3 or 4 songs, and then came back that last session where we started doing vocals and drums, and then had another 2 songs to record on there. So just a very unique process.
They've been around for like 3 years, and you're just first letting them see the light of day now.
Absolutely, yeah. So Backfire in particular, Backfire was the second song completed for the album. That was a song that I posted a clip, like the first like 45 seconds of it, on New Year's Eve 2020 on my personal Instagram. I had posted like a clip. I'd since taken it down, but I posted like a clip of something that I'd recorded, which would later become Backfire.
Okay.
So then when I came home from tour, I was like, okay, I'm going to I'm gonna finish that song first because I already got the first 45
Right.
minute, up to a minute. So I'm gonna go ahead and work on that one. So yeah, that song was finished in May of 2020.
Wow. That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
say finished, but there's a bunch of other things that would maybe change in it, but like structurally, that song was
Yep.
done and
Yep.
recorded. So yeah.
That's really cool. Album artwork. Who did that?
Oh, I've forgotten his name. Andre. I'm blanking on his name right now. I'm sorry. I
Well, if you
don't
don't
know if I
remember,
can do
that's fine.
this.
What's the concept behind the artwork and stuff? Did you guys decide that as a band, or was one person just in charge of it? Or
Actually, JB had sourced that. He had found it. He had talked to him about it and asked if it was something that we could use for our album artwork, so we could buy the artwork from him. So that's how we
oh,
went
okay,
about doing that. Yeah. So it's something
okay,
that it's a project. He had done a bunch of stuff that was a similar vein. Kind of like Guardians. We found like an artist and we're like, we don't have time to have him draw something else up. Let's look at his what does he have, and
yeah,
we found both those album artwork pieces through artists and sourced it, and then the title matches it to me. It's just dark,
right, yeah. It's
So
it's very unique.
yeah,
Let's see here. Well, I usually ask about like one single that's been released here before we start diving into some deeper tracks, but I'm more interested in the music video to Ancestry than the song itself. But that looked like it was fun to shoot.
yeah, that was a fun video to shoot. It wasn't as grueling as some music video shoots can be. It's like sometimes you're out in the cold. Sometimes you're out in the field getting ticks all over you. That's
Sure.
meddler. But yeah, so that was a fun video to shoot. It wasn't difficult. We shot it in Yonkers, just in New York City.
Yep.
And it was a fairly easy day. We just used this it's essentially a building that like rented equipment, like hospital equipment, I guess. And they had a bunch of like old equipment that we could just destroy and do whatever we wanted to with it.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was a very unique music video for us.
Yeah. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you don't mind, I got like 3 or 4 songs here I'd love to ask you about. Hopefully, I'm picking some that you did a majority of the writing on or something. I don't know. But The Cleansing. This is a nearly 8-minute song, which I love. I mean, just whole dynamic of the song. Great solos, great bass solo. Just wondering if you can tell me a little bit about that song or lyrical content or whatever.
Sure, thank you so much. So that's a JB song.
Okay.
What I can tell you about it, that was actually so Premonition that's the opening track to the record. That was connected to The Cleansing. So that right there, tracks 1 and 2 was one song. We separated Premonition
Wow.
to make it like an intro.
Yeah.
So it was even longer. And that was the absolute first song written for the record. JB
Okay.
finished that one like shortly after we got home. And then, as I mentioned, Backfire being the second song written. So, yeah, I think I can't really comment much on it other than, to me, it's like classic JB, writing where he goes in and out of like the major minor sounding stuff. So when he wrote it, I'm like, yep, that's a JB song, and I love how that song turned out too. And I think it came from like it's a very techie song. You had mentioned that, and I think that the origin of that song came from JB wanting to write something techier. Guardians
Okay.
was a record that was more easier to digest, still techie, but it felt like more structured at times with songs like Defender and Lighthouse, And so I think that like The Cleansing turned out the way that it did because he wanted to go out there and write the opposite of what he had done for Guardians. That's my perspective talking on, I could be all wrong here, but that's just the way I viewed it.
And lyrically, The Cleansing, does that have any significance to it, or don't you know?
He wrote that as well, and as far as I'm aware, that was just something that he wanted to write a story. He had this idea of the story, that was like this darkness that was overtaking. And then if you listen, it matches the song so well, because if you listen to that song, there's a moment where it's like a break and it just turns around happy, and then the ending is uplifting, flipping to that major sound. So he wanted to tell a story lyrically that would match the mood that he wrote with the song. So I think that that's what he's sought out to do, was to write something poetic. It's very poetic,
Sure.
you know, with every line rhyming and stuff like that, and to like really just tell a story, match it to the darkness, to the happiness of that song as it flips in and out of it.
Sure. Well, and that it makes me think of the next song I was going to ask you about, "Fool's Gold" and "A Bear Trap," because when I first listened to that song, it almost sounded like the title of the song. You know, like you're looking at something kind of pretty and uplifting, and then all of a sudden, like 2 minutes in or whatever it is, it just like snaps and grabs you, and it just gets really intense. So, who wrote that one?
So I wrote that one musically.
Okay.
And the way that I viewed that one was, I had that clean riff written. Was that the next song I finished? I'm trying to think. I think that might have been the third song I finished for the record. But either way, I kind of viewed, because I wrote Tightrope, Fool's Gold, and Backfire, and all those songs are in order there. And I like to look at that as one song because of how they flow into each other, but especially Fool's Gold into Backfire. That song was written with the intention of, I want this to connect to Backfire.
Okay.
Excuse me. And so, and I think JB helped me with that one by saying, like, I sent him this like kind of interlude piece that the song opens with, and he was like, dude, I think you should turn that into a song. And so I love writing parts like that, like clean sections, because you can add so many different other elements to it, and just really mess around. And it's just fun to jam that stuff more so than to try to write like a lead over a breakdown.
Sure.
So I really enjoy writing clean sections. And so with that song there, I think it just kind of like lended itself to this like dark black metal blast section. And that's kind of like the theme of the record. You know, you get a lot of blasting on this record. There's a lot of it in Cleansing. Fool's Gold is just straight up blasting. Backfire's got a lot of blasting. And I guess in that time, that was the theme that I really wanted to go with, was this dark black metal theme.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of transitioned to that in Fool's Gold, and just kind of viewed it as like an intro to Backfire.
Okay. And lyrically, you guys are all writing stuff together, aren't you? Or you kind of compiling stuff? It's not just one person takes one song.
Yeah, we leave it open to anybody in the band who wants to write
really cool.
lyrics, and anybody can write, and then we can like look it over and talk about it. And in the past, we had voted on it, but primarily it's Brent, Matt, and Jake.
Okay.
JB wrote one song for the record, but the record's mostly Brent and Jake.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, couple more for you. "Revival" is probably one of my favorites on the whole album. That opening riff is just killer. And then I just love, again, the dynamics, how it moves to like slower tempos and stuff, and the kind of this groovy thing halfway through. Just love that song.
Cool, thank you. Yeah, that's another JB song. It's very bouncy.
Yeah.
You know, that opening riff is pretty bouncy. You just bob your head the whole time.
Yeah.
That would have been, I can't really say much about that one because I'm not too familiar with a lot of the fine details, but
yeah, I'm sorry I'm picking all these ones that you didn't have your hands in as much.
No, that's okay. That one was the first song that was written in the second session, I'll call it, because like I had mentioned, in May we entered the studio. We had tracks 1 through 6, and Revival was track 7. So that was the first song that was written in the next grouping of songs. And it is a JB song, and then lyrically it's a Jake song. I think Jake and Brand, but primarily Jake.
Okay. Yeah. I'm selfishly hoping that you guys play that one live when you come to Minnesota, but
I won't say no, but we'll see.
Yeah. Last one here, "Dark Divide." That's another opening riff that just like caught my attention. I'm like, holy crap, what is that about?
So that's another JB song.
Oh man.
That one, that was in that second grouping of songs as well. I believe that was the ninth song written, or it was the eighth song written for the record. Yeah. Um, and so that opening riff that you mentioned, that was one that was crafted in the studio. Very rarely do we like kind of like change things up like this much, but like JB had another riff that he wasn't super fond of, and I was like, "Oh, the riff's cool, dude. I like it. Let's put it down." And he put it down, and the whole time he's like, "I don't like this riff," and then he like went back and changed it, and it's I think it had similar stuff to like where it came from, but what he ended up on when I heard it for the first time, I'm like, okay, you were right. Yep, that's better. So, because I really love you talk about the opening, I really like that riff too. It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite songs on the album too. I like what I hear when I listen to that song. It sounds unique. It stands out to me. It sounds different. It's techy, and it's that harmonic minor, man. I love harmonic minor in metal. I think it really transposes well and sounds
I'm not a guitar player, but yeah, it must be something about that really grabs me, because the whole record is amazing. It's probably going to be my favorite of 2023. But yeah, I mean, some of these songs, I'm just like, holy cow, where'd that come from? And it was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's got one of my favorite parts in it. It's like when it opens up and like the big lead comes in. Da, da, da. Da-da-da-da-da, da-da. I love how that opens up. I probably did a bad job singing it, but the flames would have consumed it all, and then the guitar lead happened. That's one of my favorite parts in the record.
Yeah, that's awesome. I seriously, I just love the whole album. There's not a bad song on it, and I love the way that it just, if you listen from front to back, just how the whole thing flows, and especially getting the bass highlighted more with some bass solo kind of things in there. I really like hearing that stuff.
Thank you. Yeah. It was as far as the album flowing from start to finish, that was something that we sought out to do. We wanted to intentionally make the songs connect to each other to make it feel like one piece. And that was exciting for us. I know it's not original, like it's been done before, but it's like something we hadn't done. And it was like exciting as writers to be like, how do we get these songs into the next song?
Yep.
And I love being able to do something new to us this late into our career and stay creatively happy and still release music that we're proud of.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, your tour first leg wraps up today, you said, and you guys got like a month off with a record release party in there, and then you start your second leg. And I have never been disappointed seeing you guys live. So if anyone's listening and has never seen August Burns Red, get your butt out there to a show. It's amazing. I'm looking forward to your show here in Minnesota. I got two of my boys that want to come see you. So I'm going to be bringing two kids along this time, I think. Any surprises for the tour that we can look forward to?
You're just going to see it's our biggest production that we've done. I know we say that each time, but this is like, I mean, we have to take a box truck to bring as much gear as we have out. So the light show is very cool. And then as far as like the set goes, we're just trying to, with so many albums to choose material from, we're trying to keep everybody happy. So we've been flip-flopping every other night with a set A and a set B, just so we can try to play some songs that, some of these markets, maybe people want to come see the following show, like say that they're in Chicago and they want to come to a closer city, so they'll come see it 2 nights in a row. You get to see some different songs. We're just trying to pull as many different songs we can throughout our career to keep everybody happy, because we got a lot of songs to choose from.
Yeah, no kidding. After 20 years.
Yeah.
All right. One more question for you. You guys have done really cool cover songs before, whether that's Christmas songs, Zelda, System of a Down. If Dustin could pick the next cover song that you guys record or perform, what would you want to do?
Yeah, I'd like to do I need to look into some more video game stuff. I really did enjoy doing the Zelda covers. So something in video games. I feel like there's some Mario music, or there's plenty of Zelda music to choose from.
Yeah.
That guy is an incredible composer. Yeah, something in video games. I want to explore that a little bit more. I haven't decided yet, but if I could choose, it'd be something in there.
All right. That's cool. Any last comments for our listeners?
I just want to say thank you to anybody and everybody who's supported us over all these years. I said it earlier, but 20 years is crazy to me to think that. And what I do know is that we wouldn't be here today if we didn't have people coming to our shows, buying merch, supporting us in any way. So just eternally grateful for anybody, everybody who has supported us over all these years. I say it every day when I meet people, when people say, been with you guys since Messengers, been with you guys since Constellations, been with you guys since Thrill Seeker. It's like, thank you. Then thank you so much for sticking with us that long, because like without that kind of support, we wouldn't have made it this far. So it means a lot.
20 years of my life, Dustin.
Thank you so much, Joey.
Well, listeners, if you want to support the band, head over to augustburnsred.com, get some merch, pre-order the album, whatever it is, support them, get out on tour and see them. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.